Listen, children, sit down. Grandpa Pete will tell you the story of Snow White as it really happened. Long ago, in a land far away, lived a king and a queen and a lovely little princess. Because she never ate her vegetables, she always looked a little pale, and that's why they called her Snow White. The king and the queen loved her very much, and the three of them were terribly happy. But unfortunately, the happiness didn't last. While shopping, the queen carelessly crossed the road and was run over by a bus. She died. The king and little Snow White were very sad, as you will understand. The king gave Snow White her mother's necklace, and Snow White pledged to wear it always as a remembrance of her dear sweet mother. But the king needs a queen. A year later, he took a new wife. She became the new queen and the stepmother of Snow White. Stepmothers in fairy tales and stories are usually very wicked. But the new queen was very nice to Snow White. Now everybody was happy again. But unfortunately, it didn't last that way. One day, the king invited the king of the next country for dinner. That king brought his little son along to make acquaintance with Snow White. But little boys of that age think girls are stupid. And Snow White's father choked on a sprout and died. Now there was only Snow White and her stepmother. And it turned out that stepmothers are sometimes wicked, as in the fairy tales. Now that the king was dead, her true nature showed. She didn't love Snow White at all. The poor child was not allowed to sit at the table with her. And while the queen ate cakes and puddings, Snow White had to stay in her room, eating sprouts and turnips. The queen was very vain. Every day she sat at her computer and typed,
Google, I command. Tell me, who is the fairest in the land?
And Google answered,
You, my queen, are the most beautiful in the land.
And the queen was very pleased. But the years passed, and Snow White grew up to a pretty young woman. One day the queen sat at her computer again and asked,
Google, tell me dear, who is the fairest lady here?
Up to now, you were the fairest, my queen. But now Snow White is more beautiful than you.
The queen was very upset. Only she should be the most beautiful of all. She had to get rid of Snow White. The queen called for the palace gardener.
I order you to take Snow White far into the wicked willow wood. Make sure that she never finds her way back. Tie her to a tree so that she dies of starvation. To prove you did your task well, bring me back her necklace, for I know she will never take it off voluntarily.
And the gardener took Snow White deep into the wicked willow forest. But he felt sorry for her. He couldn't get it into his heart to tie her up and let her perish with hunger.
Listen, princess, hold that tail, and after walking many hours, you'll cross the border of the next country. Google will never find you there, and the queen will again be the most beautiful in the whole country. But I have to take your necklace to prove to the queen that I left you behind.
After walking many hours, she crossed the border to the other country. When the queen switched her computer on, Google told her that again she was the most beautiful in the land. And the queen was very pleased. In an open spot in the forest, she found a small cottage. But there was nobody home. The little house was very untidy. In the kitchen, she found leftovers in the fridge, and she was so hungry that she ate it all. Snow White felt guilty for eating somebody's food. To make up for it, she decided to clean the house. The sink was filled with dirty plates and pans. She threw them all in the dishwasher. Next, she found a vacuum cleaner to clean the floor. Now, you have probably seen movies where the animals from the forest came inside and helped with the cleaning. That is nonsense. Snow White would have none of that. They'd only make a mess and poo on the floor. Shoo! Off with those filthy beasts. The long walk through the forest and the cleaning of the house made her very sleepy. But where to find a place to sleep? In the bedroom, she found 7 beds, but they were much too small for her. The chairs were also very small. Fortunately, one of the chairs was bigger, and with a second chair for a footstool, Snow White found a resting place and soon fell asleep. But who owned the house? You've probably already guessed that the owners were dwarfs. Dwarfs in fairy tales are usually miners. They are strong, hard workers, and their small size make them ideally suitable for working in narrow mine shafts. The working day ended. 7 dwarfs marched home. But what consternation! The floor was clean, the sink was empty, and the shelves were free of dust. On the electric stove bubbled a good-smelling pot, and in the corner of the room, in the chair of the head dwarf, slept a girl. The head dwarf shook Snow White awake.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
My name is Snow White, and I'm hiding from my wicked stepmother.
The dwarfs, after a hard day's work, had little feeling for doing household chores. They could well use a household help. Snow White was welcome to live in their house, on condition that she kept the house clean and do the cooking. Now let's go back to the wicked queen. She consulted Google daily, and Google told her that she was the fairest in the land. But the queen was very vain, and she wondered if there are women outside her country as beautiful as she.
Google dear. Are there other beauties far from here?
You, my queen, are the fairest in this land. But in the next country lives Snow White, and she's more beautiful than you.
The queen was furious. She summoned her gardener and fired him on the spot. Now you must know that the queen, before her marriage, was a laboratory assistant, and she knew quite a bit about chemistry. With the cleaning fluid from under the kitchen sink, she brewed a horrible poison, in which she dipped an apple. With some old clothes and makeup, she dressed herself as a sweet old lady. Nobody would recognize her, and she went on her way to the dwarf's house, with a poisoned apple in her hand.
Oh, what a pretty sweet girl you are! May I give you an apple?
Well, I don't know. As a rule, we don't buy from door-to-door peddlers. There are many dishonest persons around these days.
Oh, but I don't sell this apple. I'll give it to you for free, because you're such a pretty girl.
And Snow White took the apple and started to eat it. The poison did its work, and Snow White collapsed, unconscious to the floor. When the dwarfs came home, they found Snow White unconscious on the floor. No matter what they tried, Snow White didn't wake up. A doctor came, but all he could do was to prescribe artificial feeding to keep Snow White alive. Sleeping Snow White looked so pretty and sweet. The dwarfs laid her on a bed decorated with flowers, and so she stayed, month after month. One day, a young prince just happened to be in the neighborhood. Now this prince just happened to be the same that was present at a dinner with the 2 kings many years ago. As a little boy, the prince didn't like girls much. but as a big boy he likes them a lot. When he saw Snow White sleeping on the bed with the flowers, he couldn't resist kissing her. And see, Snow White woke up. She immediately liked the prince and they got married. Isn't it a beautiful ending of the story? But wait, it gets better. The prince succeeded his father and was now king of his country. And what about Snow White? When her father died, she was the official successor to the throne. But at that time she was too young. But now Snow White was old enough to be the rightful queen of her country. The prince and Snow White combined their two kingdoms to one big kingdom. And the wicked stepmother was no longer queen and banned forever to the South Pole. And as nobody else lived there, she was again the fairest of that land. But for the penguins.